It's clear that to you that representation is a very powerful thing.
Exactly.
And needs to be more closely examined.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about story and representation and character empowerment and reader participant empowerment?
I think that everyone just needs to be represented, and I think that there's a Clark experiment. It's a Clark doll experiment. It was done in the 50s, back when there was segregation, and it involves children. And this experiment has been repeated several times. It gets repeated about every decade with similar results, where they've got a group of African American children and a group of non-African American children. And they've got dolls in front of them, and sometimes there are only two dolls, one is black and one is white. Sometimes it's a spectrum of people drawn, but it's the same little cartoon character, and they'll say things like, which is the bad one, which is the good one, which is the smart one, which is the dumb one. And inevitably, whether they're black or not, these children tend to say that the darker ones are the dumb ones and the ugly ones, and attribute all these negative things to them, and attribute positive things to the lighter ones. And the ending question is generally, so which one is most like you? And there's a video, and watching these children's faces fall, when you're talking to a black child who's attributed all of these negative things to a black doll and then saying, that doll is the one like me. Basically, it's just saying the fact that they're not represented means that they don't feel as important. If they look at whether it's children's television, which has changed over the years dramatically, and it's really good, whether it's television, it's video games, it's movies, it's whatever, people need to see that they are a part of the world that they're in. And right now, I think that depending on who you are, there's probably more representation of aliens that don't actually exist than certain groups of people. And there's a balking at including people, and I'm not sure why, because we really do exist, and it really does matter if we see ourselves, whereas, aliens, maybe they want to take over because we make them think they already have. I don't know. They're already represented very well. But I think that it's important to have diversity of characters, of protagonists, because, like I said, everyone deserves to be the star of their own story. Also, crowd diversity. Take their NPCs and just strew every kind of thing around them, and not just colors. I mean, religious symbols, like everything. And just, I think that when you see a story and you realize that somebody took the time to put you in, it makes you feel amazing. It makes you feel like someone, not just that you're a part of the world, but someone took the time to notice that you're a part of the world and include you in a part of their world, in an acknowledgement that you're here. If I could go out of games for a moment, one of the movies that does this really well, because sci-fi and futuristic stories also tend to have kind of a sort of homogenous cast.
Yeah.
And my joke is, like, where do they put everybody else if we're not there in the future? But there's a movie called The Fifth Element. They're excellent at that. There is everyone in The Fifth Element. It looks like a future New York. And it adds so much, to use a pun, it adds so much color. But it does, it adds to the story. It adds to the world, because you see everyone represented and you feel like, this is my place. And so I think that representation it's not just something nice to do, and it's not just something that people say for politically correct reason. It actually affects people, and there's a psychology behind it, and representation is needed. It's necessary.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and I look forward to seeing more of your research and how it all turns out.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
It's been great being here. Thanks so much. Thanks.